It is so good to be with you this morning. I am Reverend Chris, and this is my service dog. His stage name is Fred. I give him a stage name because when he is on duty, it's important not to distract him, and saying his real name will make him go, huh? We don't want that. Sit. Thank you. Good boy. He is my ever-present, ever-faithful companion. He is quite the extension of my body. And I've heard, and I know that you guys have a UUG service dog as well, in Sarah's dog, Jessie. It is a joy to be with you today. It is a joy to be able to share an interesting topic that we talk around a lot, but never really talk about. I'm going to preach a sermon for you today that I wish someone had preached for me 20 years ago. Maybe it's a sermon you've heard before. Maybe it's one you've never heard. But I hope that it speaks to your hearts and your souls and your bodies today. You need to chill. Thank you. We're going to start with a story of sorts. At my home congregation in UUCV, we have a lot of kids and teenagers. So we do something called the Moment for All Ages. And we say it's a moment for all ages, but it really means time to talk to the kids, right? We have turned that on its head. Some days we talk to the kids. Some days we let the kids talk to us. And today, I'm going to talk to a lot of grown-up bodies. It's a children's story, but it has implications for all of us. So I hope you have ears to hear the words of Rebecca Alexander this morning. You might think you know what this book is about, but you really don't. Yes, I'm going to talk about body image. But you probably think I'm going to say things like, you're beautiful just the way you are. What you look like does not matter. It's what's on the inside that counts. If you love yourself, it shouldn't matter what other people think. But this book isn't about that. You might believe all of those things about other people, but you probably don't believe them about yourself. You might hate the way you sweat. You might hate the way you look in the mirror. You might hate the way your clothes fit. You might hate the size of your feet or how skinny your arms are. You might just not like your body very much. I've been there too. And I still am sometimes. You see, I'm big, like really big. I might be a little taller than average, but what makes me really big is I'm fat. Okay. You might have heard that calling someone fat is mean, that it's wrong. And that can definitely be true. Some people call other people fat because they want to hurt their feelings. That is so not cool. Don't do that. But when I call myself fat, I'm not being mean to myself, because I don't think being fat is a bad thing. It's just part of who I am. I'm also white, and I have grayish hair and green eyes. I wear glasses and I walk around with my dog a lot. I'm usually smiling, but sometimes I'm not. Some days I wear jeans, some days I wear dresses, I wear sneakers, I wear high heels, I wear bright colors. I like to wear lots of black. But When people see me on the street, the first thing they notice about me is how fat I am. I wish they noticed my cute outfits or my friendly smile, but they don't. And sometimes when I notice them noticing how fat I am, I wish I could disappear. Because even though I know I'm beautiful just the way I am, what I look like doesn't matter. It's what's on the inside that counts. Because I love myself, it shouldn't matter what other people think. I still have days when I don't feel so good about my body. Days when I don't love my body or myself. You probably have days like that too. Everybody does. And here's why. Are you ready? What I'm about to tell you is kind of big. It's huge, actually. Gigantic. Are you ready? There are a gazillion companies and people in the world who claim they have products that will fix whatever is wrong with you. They'll make your skin lighter. They'll make your muscles bigger. They'll make your hair straighter. They'll make your teeth whiter. They'll make you lose weight. Those companies would never make a single dollar if you didn't believe there was something about you that needed to be fixed. So these companies spend lots of money on advertisements to make you think that if you buy their stuff, you'll become a little smaller, a little prettier, a little stronger, and that all of your problems will go away. But that's not true. Here's the real truth. Nothing about you needs to be fixed. Your skin is the color it's supposed to be. Your muscles are the size that they're supposed to be. Your hair is as curly or as straight or as wavy as it's supposed to be. Your teeth don't need to be any whiter than they already are. And you don't need to lose weight just because society says you have to. Don't believe me? Right now, your body is doing hundreds of things that let you think and feel and breathe and live. Your bones are growing, your white blood cells are fighting off germs and viruses, your heart is pumping pints of blood all the way from your pinky toes to your pinky fingers. Your body is amazing. It is so good at stuff. Scientists all over the world are trying to build robots and sensors with computers that do things as well as your body does them. Your body is really freaking awesome. And this very special body of yours, it can tell you what it needs. Listen to it. Let the voice that says, I'm hungry, speak louder than the one that says, I have to be skinny. Let the voice that says, that soccer game looks like fun, speak louder than the one that says, but what if I get sweaty? Let the voice that says, I want to go swimming, speak louder than the one that says, but what if I look funny? Think about all the great things about you. Maybe you're a really fast runner, or you're a genius, or you can eat a lot of chicken nuggets, or you're the best Fortnite player in your class. Maybe you're a really good friend. You always have the best ideas. You're trustworthy, and you can turn any bad day into a good one. And if you can't think of anything that's great about you, ask a grown-up, they'll know. All of these things matter a lot. They make you, you. They're far more important than how your eyebrows look or whether you have a pimple. So, repeat after me. I am who I am, who I am, who I am, who I am.
Am who I am.
Get it? You are you. Love your body. It's yours. The only one you'll ever have. Quite the book from Rebecca Alexander. The point that I want to drive home today is that your body is a miracle. It is amazing and beautiful and complex and spectacular. And how many of us are squirming in our seats just hearing those words said about us? Your body is amazing and beautiful and complex and spectacular. Those things are true. And yet they are often so difficult for us to hear about ourselves. Not one single person is exempt from body image struggles. The diet and beauty industry has made sure of that for us. Like the book said, there are a gazillion companies and people in the world who invent problems and point out what is wrong with us so that they can claim to have the products to fix it and fix us. We constantly talk around this issue, modeling body insecurity to one another. And yet it's something that is rarely talked about openly. So all too often we end up feeling alone in our insecurities. We feel like what's wrong with our body is wrong with us alone, which, if you think about it, is kind of bizarre, considering that we all meet and know each other as bodies. We humans live in tall and lanky and short and squat and round and lean and in between bodies. Bodies with tattoos and piercings, with scars and sciatica, acne and arthritis, stooped and aging bodies, svelte and athletic bodies, sick and dying bodies, bodies in remission and recovery, worn and weary bodies. And I've heard of these mythical things called well-rested and energetic bodies. Apparently they exist. I've never seen one. We don't just have bodies. We are bodies. We're more than bodies, of course, but we are never less. We are bodies and spirits, not either, but both together. We can't separate our body from our spirit. They are not divisible. They have been seamlessly woven together, which is why it's so difficult to do so-called spiritual things like being patient, compassionate, and centered when our stomachs are growling, or our feet hurt, or our heads are throbbing, or we haven't slept enough, or haven't eaten well, or haven't had our morning coffee. I do not function without my coffee. When we are tired or hungry or thirsty, it is harder for us to love well, to think clearly, and feel accurately. Humans are body and spirits, brains and minds, hearts and love. We can't have one without the other. We can't exist without the circulation of blood, and we can't live without the connection of relationships. We are biology and biography. What people see is our skin, and what we want them to know are our stories. We are embodied spirits. Emotional and physical experiences exist in tandem. They fire across the synapses of our brains and register in our bodies. Anxiety shallows our breathing and speeds up our hearts. Fear makes our tummies go flip, flop, flip, flop. Loss sends tears running down our cheeks. Wonder widens our eyes. Desire burns and twitches within us. Joy lightens our steps. Confidence makes us stand up a little straighter. Hope lifts our heads. It is mind-boggling when you think about how connected our bodies and our spirits are. Interestingly enough, when I think about the miracle of our bodies, I always come back to one particular, fairly irreverent, but oh so accurate translation of a passage of the Christian Bible, and the way it frames the majestic prologue to the Gospel of John. Most translations say something very poetic, like, "And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we have seen his glory." The particular translation that makes me giggle so much says it slightly differently. And it raised a lot of eyebrows in the Christian world when it was first released. It took that majestic poetic metaphor and translated it, "One day, God put skin on and moved into the neighborhood." For all of its Halloween-esque imagery, I think that that's a great way to think about the incarnation, which is the word that Christians use to describe this idea of God coming to earth in human form. The etymology of the word incarnation is actually really close to that idea of putting skin on. Here's where the meat sacks come in. It comes from the Latin words incarne, and it literally means to put in meat. I love that idea, that in the meat and muscle and blood and bones of a human body, we are able to experience life and perceive the grace and the truth of our beautiful, incredible spirits. It gives me tingles. I don't think of the incarnation as something which happened once and exclusively in Jesus. Instead, I am of the mind that the incarnation happens to everyone, everywhere, every single time a person is born. I believe that what the idea of incarnation offers us is this: what happens to us, to our bodies, matter, because we are miracles that have been put in meat. Bodies matter. They are where we meet glory and feel grace and encounter truth. And our bodies tell the stories. Journalist Dana Jennings from the New York Times wrote that our scars tell stories. In their railroad track-like appearance, my scars remind me of the startling journeys that my body has taken. My scars are what they are, born of accident and necessity. And more than anything, I relish the stories that they tell. Your body is holy and a gift of the divine. It is deserving of being cherished and cared for. It is deserving of letting our scars tell their stories. You may not know, because most of you have never met me before, but for the past decade, I have been living with multiple sclerosis. And for the past couple of years, my body has been telling me what my limits are. I've never been good at accepting limits. I don't like being told what to do. But there are days now when I don't really have a choice. There are things that I've always done that I can no longer reliably do. I know what it means to feel that the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. I have had to learn to accept help, and not just to accept it, but how to ask for it. And oh, that is a tough pill to swallow, and that is its own sermon. Learning to ask for and accept help has been central to honoring the incarnation in my own life, honoring the miracle of my own body. Instead of being at war with my miraculous meat sack, I am learning how to care for it and to let myself be cared for when my strength wanes. So many of us are vegetarians these days because we want to honor animals and their bodies. So why then are we so hesitant to honor the meat we live in as much as we honor the meat we choose not to eat? Why are we at war with our own bodies instead of honoring them, caring for them, and letting them be cared for when our strength wanes? I am learning about extending the same compassion for my own weaknesses that I do to others. We are so good at that, aren't we? We are so good at extending grace and compassion to each other and even to strangers we don't know and animals outside of our own species, but it is so difficult for us to extend that same grace and that same compassion to ourselves, isn't it? That's what makes me squirm in my seat. Barbara Brown Taylor wrote that whether you are sick or well, lovely or irregular, there comes a time when it is vitally important for your spiritual health to drop your clothes, look in the mirror and say, "Here I am. This is the body like no other that my life has shaped. I live here. This body is my soul's address." That is powerful imagery. This body is my soul's address. And after you've taken a good look at yourself, you may decide that there is a lot to be thankful for, all things considered. Our bodies take real beatings as we walk through this world, don't they? The fact that they can heal from most of them is an underrated miracle. Each one of our bodies has a story filled with unexpected wonder. I'm a word nerd, so we're going to talk about the word wonder for a minute. Wonder shares a common root with the word wound. A wound is an opening in the body. To be wounded is to be cut or pierced or torn open. Wonder is an opening in perception. It is something that cuts away our customary assumptions, it pierces our illusions, and it tears open our minds and our hearts. To call something wonderful, full of wonder, is to say that it has opened us in ways that we have not been opened before, and gives us the opportunity to be filled with an unexpected awareness and unimagined grace. It is wonderful to be given a mind and a heart and these body clothes, these miraculous meat sacks that carry us through our messy, beautiful, very human, but gorgeously incarnate lives. We have these bodies that remind us that being human is both beautiful and messy. We touch someone we love and feel a spark of connection, a tingle of pleasure. We hug a family member or friend and we feel at home again. We sweat, we smell, we get wrinkled, we get saggy. At some point, our bodies wear out or they're overcome by illness and we will die. And our bodies return to the earth. Earth to earth, ashes to ashes, humans to humus. We need these bodies to feel love and hurt, to experience our own strength and tenderness. We are meant to cherish and enjoy these bodies we've been given, to get to know them and give praise for the skin that we are wearing, to see ourselves as beautiful and a blessing. Oh, that we would come to a place where all those companies pointing out everything wrong with us wouldn't make a single dollar because they stopped believing that there is anything about us that needs to be fixed. Our book today really hit the nail on the head. Our bodies are ours, and they are miracles. Mind, spirit, and body, we are who we are, who we are, who we are, who we are. And that, my friends, is more than enough. May it be so for each of us. Amen.